Hi everyone, this is Carrie Parr with Pick Up the Pieces Tennessee. This is going to be part 2 video of how to get your child ready for kindergarten. It's an exciting time. Your child is going off to school, but we want to talk about the things that they're going to need to do once they get there. We're going to talk a little bit about the rules that they will have to follow and what that looks like in a classroom. Now, you may be thinking, my child is fine at home. They do what I tell them to do, and they're fine with their friends when we go to church or when we go out in the community. But when you're in a school and you're trying to work on kindergarten skills, the rules are a little bit different, and the expectations are different too. So these are the rules that your child is going to need to follow and what it looks like. So we're going to talk about 3 of them right now. We're going to talk about keeping your hands and feet to yourself and all your objects to yourself and what that means. We're going to talk about following directions. And then we're also going to talk about, and this really isn't a rule, but it's an expectation that's definitely to be able to communicate. So let's talk first about keeping your hands and your feet and other objects to yourself. We say that all the time in schools. What that means is your child is going to have to be able to not touch their friends, not touch their friends with their hands, not touch their friends with their feet, not touch their friends with their scissors or their glue or anything. It is very important that they keep everything to themselves, because if you're around any other 5 or 6-year-olds and you start touching people, whether it's with your feet, your hands, while you're trying to be nice and give hugs or nudge people because they're in your way, in a class of 15 or 20 or however many kids, that can get out of control very quickly. So the rule usually in every circumstance is to keep your hands and your feet and your things to yourself. So self-control is what that is really trying to teach, and it's very important that your child is able to do those things. So talk to them at home and make sure that they know that when they go to school, if they have questions or if they need something, they need to raise their hand and ask the teacher, not touch their friends with their hands and feet and the school supplies that they have in front of them. So that's number 1, keep your hands and feet and other objects to yourself. The next rule that they talk about at school is following directions. What does that look like? That looks like anything from what we call one-step directions, which is telling your child to line up because it's time for lunch. And that means your child gets up and goes and lines up in a line at the door in their spot while they're going to lunch. Or that could mean put your scissors away, that they know that they have to take their scissors and put them in their school box or wherever the teacher tells them to put it. It could be other things like stop touching the person next to you, pay attention. It could be grab a piece of paper. It could be then what we call 2-step directions, where they tell you get out your paper and your pencil, go sit at the table, go sit on the carpet. They're pretty much all day long. I would bet teachers say thousands of 1- and 2-step directions. Maybe not thousands, maybe more like hundreds, but it's quite a bit. And they expect your child to listen and do that direction that they're giving them. And if your child is having trouble, they expect them to raise their hand or ask for help and say, I don't know, or I don't know where that is, or can you help me? They do not want them to use their hands or their feet while they are trying to figure out what to do when they don't know how to follow directions. So your teacher is there to help you. There are other support staff in that classroom to help you. And there are things that you can do at home to help your child learn how to follow directions. And I think I said in one of my other videos that you can play Simon Says at home and just teach your child that if you say something that they have to do, they do it. Now, there is a lot of discussion out there about should you follow directions every time an adult tells you to do something. That is a whole other conversation that needs to happen at home between you and your child. But in the school setting, if a teacher tells them stop running, we need you to walk. Know that all the 1-step or the directions that we are asking your child to do are always for their safety and for their benefit, educational benefit. So following directions, keeping your hands and feet to yourself is number 2. And number 3 is being able to communicate. It is very important that your child is able to say their name, maybe how they go home, whether they brought their lunch to school, did they eat breakfast, do they have any siblings at that school? So if there is any problem, that we can ask your child instead of having to call you. Now, we don't mind usually having to call you, email you, message you, but It's much easier, and it's your child's way of advocating for themselves. So it's important that they are able to communicate with you and any other safe adult at the school. You know, there are many times during dismissals and arrivals where lots of different adults interact with your child, and they're going to need to know their teacher's name, what grade they're in, where they're going, how they go home, who they live with. Those are all things that the adults at their school may be asking them as they're trying to help them with any problem they may have. So, and on the the topic of advocacy, your child's going to need to communicate if somebody is bothering them, if a child is bothering them, if they're sad about something. We have resources at home that at school that we can help with. So it's important your child can communicate those things. If they cannot, and if they have difficulty and trouble with that, please let your child's teacher know so that your child's teacher can get them the resources and the help and support that you might need too, and things that you can work with them at home. So these are just some things to be talking about before you go to kindergarten, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to like, share, and comment. Have a great day.